Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ginny Ray Clay. I am the Executive Director of the Social Equity Council, and I want to welcome you to a live webinar. It's a technical assistance webinar talking about the Cannabusiness Revolving Loan Fund, the long-awaited Cannabusiness Revolving Loan Fund. We have folks that are still coming in, so I'm going to give some folks an opportunity to still to arrive. But what I will do in the meantime is I want to introduce the team that is working on this loan program and will be reviewing the applications and pretty much managing the program. And I also want to thank this team. They are the team that worked together to make this program happen. And so we crossed every T and dotted every I and did some really, really great work. So what I'll do first is introduce the team from the Department of Economic and Community Development. And I'm just going to say their names. Just so you know who is who. So on my screen, I have Sheila Hummel. I also have George Norfleet. I have Leroy Smith and Collis Andrews. So that is the business team that will be doing the due diligence and the underwriting for all of the applications. And for those of you who are social equity applicants, you know the Social Equity Council team, and that is myself, Jennifer Edwards, Christina Diamond, and Komla Matreve. So welcome to you all. And the way we're going to work this is the presentation should be about 25 minutes, and then we're going to give you plenty of time to ask questions. So right now you can only see us and you can hear us, but once the presentation is over, we will turn on your mics and we will turn on your cameras and allow you to ask the questions that you want to ask. In addition, the presentation will be recorded and posted to our YouTube channel. So if there's people who were not able to join us today, and for this one at Lunch and Learn, and then our second webinar, which is going to be the same thing at 6 o'clock tonight, you'll be able to go onto our YouTube channel and find the presentation. And with that said, Jennifer, I'm going to ask you to put up the presentation, and our team is going to turn their cameras off because you probably won't be able to see them, but we want you to have the presentation get your full attention. Okay, we're ready to pull up the presentation. We can go from there. You need me to pull it up if you give me co-host?
Go ahead, try to pull it up.
Sorry about the technical difficulty, folks. Let me share my screen. Oops. Okay. Okay. Can you guys see that? The ECD team, can you all see this presentation? Okay. Okay, great. So that means I have to advance, right, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Well, again, welcome to the live webinar for the Social Equity Council DECD Cannabusiness Revolving Loan Fund. So just a little overview on the Social Equity Council. As you know, we promote and encourage full participation in the adult use cannabis industry by people who have been disproportionately harmed by the cannabis prohibition and enforcement, and to support broad-based economic development in those communities. So we have overseen the verification of social equity applicants. We also are creating new programs to support both the cannabis businesses in other industries related to cannabis that will support the cannabis industry. And we're managing community reinvestments derived from cannabis sales tax revenue. So just on that note, we are doing reinvestment right now. We have about $6 million out into various communities throughout Connecticut, and local organizations are applying for funds, grant funds, to support reinvestment. And we will be embarking on several community conversations in the weeks to come, and we'll be putting out more information on that. A little overview about the Department of Economic and Community Development. Their mission is to develop and implement strategies to increase the state's economic competitiveness. DECD does this by attracting and retaining businesses and jobs, revitalizing neighborhoods and communities, and preserving and promoting Connecticut's arts, culture, and tourism assets. Okay, a little bit about the program itself. So it was created to support eligible businesses engaging in Connecticut's new cannabis industry. The program will provide low-interest loans to businesses who qualify and injecting the necessary capital to cannabis businesses so that their businesses can grow and thrive. As you know, it is difficult to find money in the cannabis space because it is not legal on the federal level. So any federal support that would normally go to support businesses is not available to the cannabis industry as of yet. To be eligible to apply for the Cannabusiness Revolving Loan Fund, you have to be an approved social equity applicant. Those folks who went through the lottery that have a provisional license will have an opportunity in a 90-day window to apply first for these funds. So between August 30th and November 30th, those folks who participated in the lottery and who were approved as social equity applicants can apply. One of the things is you have to have at least a provisional license. So if you applied and you got your background check, but you haven't paid your fees and you haven't received your provisional license, you are not eligible to apply to the fund just yet. After the first 90 days, then all of the rest of the social equity businesses can apply to the fund. So, and I think I just went over this, approved social equity applicants, SEAs with a licensed cannabis business, you have to be located in Connecticut. And again, it includes provisional licenses. As you know, that the social equity applicant must own 50% of a equity joint venture and own 65% or more of a cultivator or a Connecticut based business. And you must be 21 years or older to apply as well. The eligible use of these funds, you can buy equipment, you can purchase and install machinery, leasehold improvements or expansions, working capital, lines of credit, vehicles for use in conducting official cannabis business, technology infrastructure, loan closing, environmental studies, and soft costs related to new construction and renovations. The ineligible uses of these funds, you cannot pay taxes. You cannot pay your licensing fees. You cannot subsidize a business that can obtain financing for a project at reasonable terms from conventional sources. You cannot refinance or restructure existing debt with these funds. You cannot relocate a business entity from one Connecticut geography, or so from one town to another town. You cannot use these funds for relocating your business. You cannot compensate for fundamental business weaknesses. So that is something that you do not have the ability to do at this point. And I think a little bit later, if this is a question, I'm going to ask one of the DECD folks to clarify this piece. You cannot use it as a personal loan. You cannot use it for personal needs, such as child support, paying your rent, paying utilities, or anything of a personal nature. And you cannot use it for any illegal activities. The way the loan is structured is these are direct loans in the form of working capital, lines of credit, and neither of the working capital or the line of credit loans can exceed $250,000. Fixed asset loans may not exceed $500,000, and that includes leasehold improvements. Vehicle loans cannot exceed $500,000. And there is a minimum equity investment of 20%. So if you're asking for $100,000, you have to put in the first 20,000. That's the 20% that is required. The loan terms, working capital loans will be amortized over a period of 2 years. Lines of credit will mature at the end of 5 years and may be converted to a term loan for a period not to exceed 5 years. Fixed assets and vehicle loans will be amortized for up to 10 years. The interest rate is prime plus 3%. The interest rate shall not exceed 9%, but it will not go lower than 6%. For those that participated in the accelerator program with the Oaksterdam University Reset, you completed the accelerator program, you are eligible for a 1.5% interest rate reduction as an incentive for completing the program. For collateral, all owners with 5% or more ownership stake in the business must provide personal or corporate guarantee. The closing costs for the loan, you can deduct the closing costs, which means you can finance the closing costs from the proceeds of your loan. So just to talk a little bit about the application itself, first and foremost, the application and all of the documents related to the loan program can be found on the Social Equity website. The website it's live. All of the forms are available to you, and I will be posting or show you at the end of the presentation the website and other information in reaching and following the Social Equity Council. So the business name, we want you to list the full name of the business, legal name of the applicant that is applying for financial assistance. The mailing address of where correspondence should be sent if different from the location so indicated. A contact person, that is very important because if we have questions, we want to contact someone right away so that we can continue the process and keep it moving along so there is no delay in approving of the funds. The project location, so where is the location where the financing will be used? So if you're a retail store, where is your retail location? If you're a manufacturing facility, where is the actual business being conducted? The municipality is the jurisdiction to whom the taxes are being paid. So the jurisdiction of where you're going to pay your taxes. The nature of the business is, we know this is cannabis, but we want you to give a complete but concise description of what your business is doing. So we've got cannabis manufacturing, packaging, retail, delivery, cultivating, transportation. So just give us a brief description of that. And then you will need to put your employee identification number as well as a NAICS code. So they are both required. In the ownership, you must include anyone who owns 5% or more of the business. So it'll give you a space, and we'll show you the application. But like I said, the application is available on the website, but we'll show you a picture of it so that you can just kind of quickly go through and just scan it. But anybody, so if you have to attach a separate sheet of paper, you would attach it to include if all the names don't fit. Assistance required, the amount of funding that you are requesting, okay, and for what you're asking for the money for. The gross receipts of the business during the last calendar year or last fiscal year, if applicable. So those that have the provisional licenses that are not in business yet, this would not be applicable to you. Employment, we'd like to know how many current full-time employees or employees period, whether they're full-time, part-time. We don't want you to include consultants in that number. We want you to include folks who are being paid by the company. And if you don't have any employees, we'd like you to give us the estimated number of employees that you plan to create over the next 3 to 5 years. So if you have employees, give us that list, but also give us, not a list, just give us the number. But if, and then give us the number of folks over the next 3 to 5 years. Project costs. So provide the project's budgeted costs. Include in your budget the 20% of investment that you will be making into this project. There is a form called the financing plan and budget that is on the website, and you would use that to create your budget for the project that you're applying for. The project description, again, the number of jobs to be created, equipment to be purchased if applicable, or what you're going to use the money for. If you're using it for inventory, what is the inventory type? Uses for working capital and lines of credit. Are you planning to buy a building? Are you going to make leasehold improvements? And if you are, we're asking you to provide lease information on current or prospective tenants if you will be buying a building and there'll be other people in the building with you. Electronic repayment to the state for the funding. So you will see in your agreements and the loan documents that you must agree to register for electronic loan payment via what's called ACH, automatic clearinghouse debit authorization. Forms for that will be provided. The application process. First, we're asking for the applicants to submit the application. And we only want you to submit, and I'll say this again because it's at the lower part of this slide. We only want you to submit the application itself first. Once the application is submitted, then the Social Equity Council staff will review the application for eligibility and that you have completed the application itself. Then we will send you an email to tell you how to upload the documents that are necessary and required for the DECD to begin their underwriting and their due diligence. After the underwriting and the due diligence has happened and the loan is going to be approved, the applicant will receive what's called a letter of interest. And that outlines the terms and conditions for the loan that is being made to you. Upon acceptance of the letter of interest, the loan documents will be executed. You will begin paying the loan back. And once the loan is repaid, you will get a monitoring for compliance in accordance with your loan documents. So just here, the next step, it would be so you hear the webinar, you go onto the website, you grab the application, you complete the application, send the application to sec.loans@ct.gov. We will review the application to make sure that it is in line with the program. You will receive an email that provides you instructions with how to upload the required documents. Some of the required documents are a letter of good standing from the Department of Revenue Services, DRS, a letter of good standing from the Connecticut Department of Labor, DOL, a business plan, include the current copy of the company's business plan, so what you have on file. Business financial statements for the most recent 3 years and a 5-year projection. Federal tax returns may be admissible. Cash flow. Please include as part of the financial statements year-to-date profit and loss and balance sheet. Taxes paid, we want to know the payroll taxes, sales taxes, and corporate taxes paid to Connecticut for the past 3 years and projected for the next 3 years. Personal or corporate financial statements of all owners with 5% or more ownership in the company. Schedule of related affiliated companies. So any company that that is a part of your company or affiliated with your company and its owners. And backers' tax returns for the last 3 years. I'm not going to go over all of the frequently asked questions because these questions actually appear on our website. It's a separate document. It's this information. So you can go on and you can see if any of your questions that you don't ask today may be on our website already as frequently asked questions. And then we will update that document as we get questions that are really good that are coming up quite frequently. So again, I'm not going to go over them. I'll just look at them very quickly. So who can apply for the loan? We talked about that. What age? We talked about that. If you hold multiple licenses, can I apply to this program for each license? And that is answered, not at this time. Again, you can go on to the website and get the full answer for that. And then what can the funds be used for? We talked about that. What can the funds not be used for? How is the loan structured? What's the minimum equity investment? All of that was answered. And what are the terms of the loan? We talked about that. What's the interest rate? We talked about that. And what are the collateral requirements? And we talked about the personal guarantees for anyone that owns 5% or more. What are the closing costs? Closing costs will be probably around $5,000, but some of the DECD folks may have some additional information on that. And then how can you apply for the program? Go to the SEC website, take down the application, complete it, submit it, and we will give you instructions on how to finish applying for the loan. How long does it take to be approved? We take the applications in the order that we receive them. The sooner you get your completed application to us with all of the necessary and required documents, the faster we can move your application onto the DECD for them to complete their underwriting process. And then where can I find more information? SEC, you can contact us at sec.loans@ct.gov, but you can find out more information about the program on our website. So here it is again. Learn more about the Social Equity Council. Social Equity Council at ct.gov is our general email box that is monitored on a daily basis. For this program, I would recommend that you send questions to the sec.loans@ct.gov. That way it gets right to the program manager and the person that is monitoring that email, and your questions will be answered as quickly as we can answer them. So the Social Equity Council website is ct.gov/Social Equity Council, or you can simply Google us. We have a YouTube channel. As I mentioned, this will be recorded and our meetings are put on our YouTube channel so that folks can watch them later or repeat the information. So it's CT Social Equity Council YouTube. And then we also have a Facebook page at Social Equity Council, and the Cannabusiness Revolving Loan Fund. Again, this is a link right to the landing page on our website. So if you go to our website, you'll find it. When we send this out, you can click on that and it'll take you right to the page. The program manager for the loan program is Jennifer Edwards. She's been a program manager with the Social Equity Council since its inception, and she will be monitoring this email box, and she will also be communicating with you related to your application and submitting all of the proper documents and making sure that you have everything submitted to us that we need to move your application over to the DECD for the due diligence and the underwriting. So that will end the presentation. And we're going to come on and ask if you have questions. We're going to open up your mics and give you an opportunity to ask those questions. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen, which I'm not sure I know how to do that. There we go. All right, so hopefully that information was helpful to you, and we will ask that if you will raise your hand, we will call on you for questions that you might have. And we have quite a few people on this list. We've got over 30, so just be patient with us and we will scan the pages and get to you as quickly as we can. So with that said, are there any questions? Okay. Everyone is muted. I don't know, again, if there's questions in the chat.
Glenn has his hand up.
Okay,
Asking.
go ahead.
You had mentioned that one category that you were going to have someone to explain a little more detail in the loan, what qualifies and doesn't qualify.
Oh, Leroy, I
Or
think you can, yeah, I think Leroy Smith from DECD can answer that question. And that was the,
Yes.
that's the one we
Fundamental
thought we had a question
weaknesses.
about.
Okay, so yes, I'm here if you want me to go ahead. What's the specific question that you have about
Yeah.
eligible and ineligible activities?
And I'm going to ask the DECD and SEC team who can answer questions or will answer questions, so please put your cameras on.
I was kind of just asking, what does that category represent? I wasn't familiar with the terminology.
Okay, so there are some activities that are going to be eligible, and they were listed there. And Jenny briefly went over them, and there's some activities for for reasons that are just not going to be eligible activities. So we have a list of. I'm just trying to go over it very quickly here. We have a list of those activities. Jenny, do you have those up on the screen? You could probably share.
I
Okay.
just stopped sharing my screen. You want the eligible uses and the ineligible uses? Yeah, let me see if I can pull that back up. Okay, just give me 1 second. Find it.
Yeah, I could just probably just read it while you're looking for it. So eligible expenses are some of the activities that we anticipate that your companies will definitely be undertaking. Some of the first expenditures you're going to be making, and there are equipment purchase, purchase and installation of machinery, leasehold improvements. Are you going to be renting a building and you're doing major leasehold improvements, and that's eligible. We also have working capital fees. So loans for working capital. Not sure what else.
I
What
think
other activities that you may have a question about? The
I think
ineligible activities.
I think he was asking about the compensating for fundamental business weakness.
Yeah. So that's a question that where you may have a fundamental business weakness. You are going to be, say, starting up a business and you don't have an accounting staff or a way for accounting for your expenditures. That's a fundamental business weakness that will lead to certain failures. So if you have there's something regarding your business that is almost from the outset. I'm not guaranteed, but very, very likely chance will result in your business not being successful. There is a weakness in your structure. You don't have, maybe managers. You maybe don't have a worker. I'm just making some of these. I'm just using some example just not anything specific to you, but one I can think of is that you don't have an accounting system, or you have no provision for that. To account
Okay.
for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Jenny, could you go back to the eligible use tile? Yeah, I'm trying to write it down, but I can't write that fast.
I can give, this will be sent to you, and this is also on
Oh,
our
okay.
website. All of this information is on our website, so don't try to
Okay.
track this down. Yeah, we got you covered. The frequently asked questions are there, the overview, the terms and conditions, all of that is there.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions? I can leave the PowerPoint up so you guys can.
Are we all unmuted? Oh, we are. Hi there. Did you say that folks can apply for both the working capital loan and the equipment loan, or is it one or the other?
It's one or the other. You can apply for one loan for this in this program at this time. This program is right now we have $10 million in this loan fund, and we want to try to give everyone who wants a part of that an opportunity, and then we will be looking to replenish this loan probably with another $10 or $20 million kind of midway through. We just wanted to get an idea of how quickly the money would be going.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
And out of curiosity, so I think you had mentioned that the lottery winners kind of have a first crack at tapping into the capital. Is that, so that's a decision that's been made. The 149 winners have to wait until, was it November before?
Yes. November 30th.
And is that a a conversation that you're having with folks? I'm just out of curiosity, how come that's the case?
It was a decision by the council to give the lottery participants first crack or first opportunity at the funding.
Okay. It's just I understand you all are juggling a lot. It's just a competitive advantage for sure, just to even have a couple months head start on construction. So if the funds are not depleted, would the commission consider opening it up before that November date?
It depends on how quickly the applications come in from the lottery folks. So the lottery folks, there was only about, in the social equity space, there was only about 28 licenses through the lottery.
Right.
So it's not a huge number, and it's going to be those lottery folks. It's not their EJVs. It's going to be the primary lottery winner.
Right. Okay. I just want to express that for those of us that would be waiting till November because we can't afford equipment, for example, it feels like a bit of a disadvantage, but we appreciate that you guys are rolling this out, and thanks so much for the presentation, everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome. And we will, I mean, like I said, if the applications are not coming in, we're not going to just sit on the funds. So we may, if necessary, we may just open it up to everybody.
Okay. Thank you for considering that.
Sure.
Yeah, I have a question.
Mhm.
Could you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yes. So, if an approval allows you to apply for a loan if you were in the lottery last year, or do you have to already have a provisional license?
You have to have a provisional license.
Okay.
That's the minimum, because with the provisional license, that means you've completed the background check and you've paid your license fees, and that means you have permission to be in the adult cannabis space.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question about the equipment loan. One of the biggest purchases that we have to make is building a vault or purchasing a modular vault. Is a vault considered equipment or part of the build out?
I would say it's eligible use, but I would defer to either COMA or someone from DECD if they have a different opinion.
Yes, so is there a question regarding whether or not it's considered leasehold improvement or is considered equipment?
That's exactly right. If we want to use the funds to pay for our vault, would you apply for the working capital or the equipment?
I would say, it seems to me like the vault would be leasehold improvement. So yeah, that would probably, not necessarily be equipment. I won't put it as, it seems like it would be leasehold improvement because you have to install it in the wall somewhere.
Right.
That, that's like installing shelves and things like that in your business.
What
so,
if it's,
yeah,
I understand. What if it's a modular vault that can be moved?
I would still probably consider leasehold improvement because you don't want to be saying one vault is leasehold improvement, one is equipment. That gets, so I would just classify all those that are going to be affecting the structure of the building to be leasehold improvements. You got, I know in places I've been into, they have movable shelves and stuff like that, so yeah, I would say probably consider it to be that.
Okay, thank you.
Can you share whether you're working with a particular financial institution to administer these loans?
What is your question?
Well, if you're working with a specific financial institution to administer the loans?
No, we're not. These are state loans.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Pardon me. Can you guys hear me? I apologize.
We can hear you.
All right. Hello, thank you for taking your time today to help us out and get this information out to us. I just wanted to, I guess, follow up on the last question about the Section 149 applicants. If we went through and I understand the beginning part of this, would there be some consideration put out for any of the applicants that went through the accelerator program as well, depending how the lottery applicants come in, just as we try to move forward. It's it was an expensive fee and putting in a lot of work and everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so the incentive that we offered for participating in the accelerator is the 1.5% reduction on the interest rate for the loans.
I understand that, and I appreciate that very much. I think maybe I misheard you wrong. Just a couple moments ago, you said depending on when the lottery licenses come in, you might consider opening up that 90-day window or something like that.
Yeah, so it depends on, again, where the lottery applicants are with their provisional licenses. So you have to have at minimum a provisional license to apply. So if we don't get the lottery folks, if they haven't gotten their provisional licenses, let's say 15 of them got their provisional license and they submit them through, and we can check that, then we would open up the funds. We're not just gonna, just let the funds sit. So as soon as we get a good handle, we may be opening it up sooner.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do you know about and you said there was how many lottery license winners? I apologize, 40 something. Do you know how many of them?
Yeah, just in the social equity, the original social equity licenses was about 28. If that my memory serves me correctly.
Do you know how many of them got provisionals? Just asking.
Don't know yet. We can Komla, go ahead. You can.
Yes, so the original lottery is about 30 applications that are currently pending. That's just on the in total. Now, whether any of them got provisional license, I'm not sure about that, but I checked recently and none of them were able to get their provisional license and be able to open up so far. But I will have to double check, and I invite everyone to go on the DCP e-license portal to actually see all the licenses that are currently in the provisional license category for update on that. Thank you.
Can you just repeat that website one more time? I apologize.
The DCP e-license portal, that's where DCP usually posts the data regarding the cannabis program.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. I know you guys are working very hard to get all this stuff going, and we really do appreciate it. Thank you.
What we will do is we can send out, so we mainly sent this email out to the social equity applicants, the approved social equity applicants. We'll send the e-license portal link to you. And also when you reach out to Jennifer with your application, we can also send that link to you as well. And like I said, we'll go on and we'll take a gauge and we'll see, and we may be opening it up to everyone sooner.
And for the license holders, is there a way to register your interest in applying for the loan here? Or will you notify the license holders before you intend to open it up? Because there is, some decisions to be made on sort of which loan program you're going to apply for and some documents to gather. So, my question is, will you make the decision to open it up in, 5 days, or will you give the license holders some time to make the necessary decisions on their end and get their application together?
Well, either they are provisional license holders or they're not.
Sorry, let me restate. The lottery winners who have
Right.
provisional licenses,
Mhm.
will there be some period of time for them, or at least a notification of how much time there is for them to apply before the Social Equity Council opens it up to non-lottery provisional license holders, I guess is my question, because there are some decisions that need to be made depending on what loan program they're going to apply for.
So you're asking if we will notify the lottery folks. It says, you know, in 5 days, we're going to open this up to all social equity provisional license holders or license holders.
Absolutely. So practically, right? If you are a lottery winner and a provisional license holder, and you're discussing it as a team of whether you're going to apply for working capital or the equipment loan, gathering tax returns, things like that. Is there a way to register with the Social Equity Council to say, hey, we're doing this? So, you know,
Yeah,
so it doesn't get opened up to everybody.
Well, I would hope. Yeah, we've been talking about this program for a long time. We were just waiting for some of the final approvals to happen. So what I would recommend you do is to submit the application ASAP. And that lets us know that you're intending to apply, and then you'll receive an application of the information on how to upload your information.
Fair enough.
Good afternoon. One last question, and I'm just jumping on a little late. I'll catch you guys later this evening if this has been asked already. I'm sorry. Procedurally, do we have to take the entire loan up front, or can we accept it as a line of credit that we can dip into?
We have lines of credit.
I had one more question on a prime rate.
Sorry,
Okay.
Sorry, I just want to follow up on that question.
Okay.
If you're applying for a line of credit, you're applying for a line of credit. If you're not, then you're not. Like, I'm not sure if you're saying you can, I'm not sure if you're trying to like apply for equipment and use the money as line of credit. Is that what you're saying? You want to?
I'm wondering if I need to take the full 200 or 500,000 up front, if I might not need it all up front.
Or you could draw it down as needed.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm trying to figure out how that will work with the equipment. If you're buying a piece of equipment, the equipment costs X amount. Why would you not want to just buy the equipment for the cost? Why would you have?
Let me give you a better example. A delivery company wants to buy cars, but they only want to buy 2 now. They might need to buy 10 in the next year.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see any reason why, you wouldn't be able to buy what you need now, and then the rest of the equipment comes in later. Yeah.
And interest would only be paid on what you've drawn on the line of credit.
Well, I technically that probably works, but would definitely have to get back to you on if that would be the case.
Yes, thank you. Attorney Ben, you guys know who I am. Thank you.
Yeah, I just had that one question on the prime rate. If it's at 8.5% right now, so the rate would be 9% since that is the ceiling, not 11.5%, which is the prime plus 3.
Yes, yes, Jenny, I believe, yeah.
Yes, it's not going to exceed, the interest rate will not, and Cowless also may be able to shed light, or Comla, but it's not to exceed 9%.
That's correct.
Okay.
The interest rate will not exceed 9%. It's meant to help.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, can I ask a quick question? Is that all right?
Sure.
Sure. So this is a question about timeline of application. So obviously, y'all have been very clear that the initial applications can only come in from lottery winners. However, you did note that they come in and are reviewed first come, first serve. So could 149s and EJVs submit their application now, while understanding that they will not be able to be reviewed until after all the lottery winners are in, but ultimately be in the queue for first review following the end of it being subject to only lottery winners? So like, will you open up the, I guess, are you opening up the applications, understanding that they can be on hold, right? But will get reviewed in the order of receipt, even though
No.
it's after? No, so you're
Well-
not opening it up to 149s yet at all?
Correct, correct.
Okay.
We'll let you know. And like you said, if in the next couple of weeks, if we don't get, and we look at the ones that have the provisional licenses, we're not going to hold up, and we're not waiting for folks to get their provisional licenses. If they have their provisional licenses, let's say there's 15, and those 15 applications come in, then we'll open it up.
Got it. And there will be notification. And then in terms of review of documentation, will there be any prior, I guess not holding it, but prior review, or is there any feedback able to be given to ensure that documentation is proper of any sort, or is that only once you can submit? Similar to how in e-license, you can now use the upload portal to have documents in the queue, even though a full submission has not been completed.
So when you submit the application, you'll get the instructions on what all is required, the documents that are required. You'll get instruction on how to upload those documents, because some of those documents have, proprietary and confidential information in them. And your application will not be forwarded to the DECD until it is deemed to be complete with all of the required documentation as a part of the application package.
Okay, but there won't be feedback given on the documentation prior to it being complete, just to confirm.
So if you give an example, like if you don't
All right,
submit your business plan or
yeah, so sure, right, the business plan. Business plans are right now a defined term, right? Everyone's business plan is going to come back different. Some are going to be more financially driven, some will be more narrative based, cash flow statement at X number of years out, etc. Let's say you submit something and it's not to either the standard or what the reviewer, Ms. Edwards, I think it is, wanted to see. Can you submit for feedback prior so that once you can submit an application, you're more confident that'll be deemed complete? Because the timeline of this, as a number of folks have noted, really makes a huge difference in the ability to fund these businesses in a very difficult economic environment, et cetera. Like this program is potentially amazing, right? And so I think what I'm asking for hopefully everyone's benefit is, are there ways to ensure that you're more likely to be reviewed as a full and proper application via support beforehand to help get these businesses off the ground?
So what Jennifer will review for, she's not going to look at the business plan and give you feedback on the business plan. She is collecting the data, collecting the information, the documents that are required by the DECD to do the full due diligence and underwriting of the application. So I will say to you that the DECD is amazing, and they've been doing this for a very long time. So once the package goes over to them, they will give you feedback on what might be missing or additional information that they're asking for. But they do this every day, which is why they're our partner in this. They are no stranger to moving along an application review and loan approval process.
Great. And then the last question is will it be transparent about timeline of applications submitted so that you can see who's in the queue before you?
No, we're not. We don't have that ability to put up a queue or who's first and who's second. We don't have that capability. That's not how it's designed.
Okay, thank you.
I kind of have a unique question. This is Justin Fritz, I think showing my wife's name. But our license is technically our partner went through the Amsterdam program, qualified, graduated, and we're technically a lottery license, but we went through the appeals process because of the issues that we ran into with our paperwork. Where do we fall? I know there's a couple other licenses in the same situation. They're a lottery license, participated in the program, did everything, all the qualifiers. Are they still excluded as part of that 90-day window, or would they be able to apply at the same time as the rest of the lottery winners?
Pamela?
Yes. Sir, what I would say is if your license is a lottery license, like a food and beverage, micro cultivator, any of those lottery license, and you are selected, and then SEC confirm you, regardless of going through the appeals process or not, you should also take advantage of the first window of application, which is open now, to submit your application because you are a lottery application. And since you also have gone through the accelerator program, that means you may potentially also be taking advantage of the incentive.
Okay, great. Thank you for your help.
Sure.
Any other questions? Any comments?
I had a question.
Sure.
Are you able to use real estate that you own to potentially get a loan against that?
I'm going to let Leroy or Carlos answer that question.
Yeah, so currently the loans are going to be, the security for the loans are going to be personal guarantees and corporate guarantees. So you will have to provide, a corporate guarantee, a personal guarantee to get the loan. It won't be secured by real estate or equipment or anything like that. These are going to be personal and corporate guarantees.
We also have
Okay. And
go ahead, I'm sorry.
oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't. My phone was breaking up as well. I couldn't hear.
Did you was your question answered?
Oh,
Yes, your question was answered. Okay, we're gonna, Jennifer, if you're on, Tiana Hercules has a question, is not able to unmute herself. Can you check to see how we can help her?
Who is it?
Tiana Hercules? I don't even, on the attendee side, I don't even see the list of people.
I think
You
it's
can go
on. Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah,
Thank you all for this presentation. It was really informative. I guess I'm just a little curious about the way that decisions are made, given that this seems to be kind of a quasi-competitive process. So I'm wondering, is it like first come, first serve? If you meet the requirements, you get approval, or is the DECD looking at it from like a more global perspective about the supply chain needs to make this industry actually thrive? Just in comparing applications against each other, I'm just a little curious, is it like a scoring system? Is it just a yes, no? Just trying to figure out how that thought processes and those decisions are going to be made.
DECD?
Yeah, so the loans are going to be reviewed as a typical loan. There's no scoring process or thought process. The major overall intent here is the client's ability to repay the loan, which is, are you going to be sustaining or generating enough cash flow to repay the loan? So we're going to look at those kind of things. And so, yeah, so it's not a competitive process or anything like that. It's just, if your company has the ability to repay the loans and there are no other significant issues regarding your operations that we may be aware of, then the loan will be approved. But there are issues that may not cause your loan to get approved because of the underwriting. You probably don't meet certain underwriting criteria. The major one, as I said, is we just want to make sure that your business is going to be viable and you have the capacity to undertake the business, and you have the capacity to repay the loan in future.
Thank you.
Question, I have a question on that. You're going to be looking at the business's ability to repay the loan. But there is a personal guarantee or a corporate guarantee element of this. Will it factor into the decision in the personal guarantor's ability to repay the loan, or the corporation that's guaranteeing the loan's ability to pay it back?
Well, we are going to also
Would that be considered?
We are going to be asking that you submit personal financial statements, right? So with those personal financial statements, we'll be looking at your, this won't be a significant decision process. Like if your personal financial statements is not, is not showing that you have a lot of assets, or it's not going to be a detriment. But we do need to know upfront that you submit your financial statements and there are potential of assets there that you have. So yeah, so you have to have something on your personal financial statements, but it's not going to be a detriment if it's not an excessive amount of assets.
Well,
So,
it would be SEC applicant, so that's kind of the rub there, right? Like
a rub?
Yeah, that would be an oxymoron for SEC approved applicants. A whole bunch of assets on their financial statements. You wouldn't qualify if you did. So that's the personal guarantee factor of this is, I think, the thing that I think is a little odd about this type of loan, particularly because it is a business loan and you have to show that you don't have a bunch of assets in order to be in the program. So I just think that's a little bit of a, I don't know, oversight, or those two things just don't comport well is all I say.
Kamala, maybe we can, and Jenny, maybe, I don't know how we will handle this, but maybe we can go over the history of why we are doing personal guarantees as opposed to having those secured by equipment or secured by real estate. There's a reason for that. So I'm gonna leave it up to Kamala and Jenny to probably, if necessary, address that issue.
So
Yeah, because we have only 1 minute left in this webinar session, and I don't want to go over the 1 o'clock time frame. So we can probably schedule another session and maybe bring it up again tonight at our 6 o'clock session, or even put out a statement. Maybe Koma, we can maybe put out something to folks.
We can cover this at the beginning of our afternoon webinar. To provide information. Yeah, that way it will still be recorded and potentially posted for folks to see.
Okay, and we'll see if we can write something and get maybe a statement out as well.
Sure.
Okay, so with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for your questions. I want to thank you for joining us through this Lunch and Learn about the Social Equity Council and the Department of Economic and Community Development's Cannabusiness Revolving Loan Fund. We will repeat this webinar tonight at 6 o'clock. You can register for that again if your questions did not get answered, or you can submit your questions to our special mailbox and we will list them and respond to you as soon as we can. Okay, so with that said, again, thank you very much for being here. And good luck. And just want to make just a note to the folks that participated in the accelerator program and will be graduating next week. Congratulations. All right. So with that said, thank you, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, Jennifer.